What's up, everybody? I'm the Mangoose. You are awesome, and Souleve just released their new For the Record community update video, and holy shit, this one had a lot of info. Unfortunately, that information did not include a release date, unless they coded that in somehow, but it did include new heroes, a new map, reversions to old systems, and a reversion to the old Paragon hero names. I'll go through today and talk about all the news revealed in this video and give a few opinions about the updates. Let's start with what I find the most exciting update: new heroes. These include Chimera, Decker, Howitzer, the Fae, and Wraith. If you noticed any others in the footage, please let me know in the comments below. While most of this new footage was centered around Chimera and the Fae, the one I'm the most excited to see is Wraith. While I enjoyed Wraith, he wasn't really one of my favorites. However, I've been saying for a while that based on his old Paragon kit and numbers, he's my top pick for who should be added to these Paragon remakes next. I think he'll be a good addition mainly because of his versatility. He can be played offlane, mid lane, support, or ADC. 4 out of 5 positions covered by one hero. I know not everyone approves of this type of homogenization, but I think it's perfect for a growing game. I also think that he's a good addition because his old kit presents a bit of a programming challenge due to his rewind ability. I'm not sure if they'll maintain the same kit in Overprime, but it's hard to imagine Wraith without rewind. The next one I'm hyped to see is the Fae, for no other reason than I like the Fae. I was expecting her addition fairly soon since she was actually teased well before the first closed beta test. That brings up another possible issue though. We've seen them play heroes before in teasers like this, but then that hero wasn't actually part of the testing. Let that be a warning that just because you see them in the game here, doesn't mean that they'll be in the game. The hero they really focused on pretty hardcore was Chimera. He looks really similar to his old Paragon implementation, and I'm happy to see that his ambush is still a lock-on ability. Souleve experimented with an AoE jump for Kai prior to the Netmarble acquisition, and I felt it made him too strong. The lock-on ambush solidified him as an all-in hero, and having the AoE jump gave him an escape when things went awry. An escape on Kai equals an unkillable hero. We also see a few brief glimpses of Decker in the footage. This is nice to see since, even with the late addition of Narbash, Overprime was a bit light on real supports. Hopefully Decker will be a support. We've seen with FaZe that Souleve isn't afraid of just saying fuck it and turning a traditional support hero into a just straight up mid laner. You can briefly see Howitzer in the footage. He's another one that used to be playable before Souleve was acquired by Netmarble. I'm not sure what his kit is now, but it was very similar to his old kit in the past. I remember Howie being an absolute monster on their 3v3 one lane map due to just his ability to control the lane and just escape when needed. They also indicated that there are many more playable heroes in the game that simply weren't included in the footage. I'm personally the most interested in seeing anything regarding Souleve's first original hero, Adele. Now the map changes. They're keeping the basic layout of the legacy map called Agora, but implementing some of the assets from Monolith. They're calling it Agalith. The visual changes aren't the only thing we'll see that's different though. They cleared up jungle pathways, so there's a distinct dirt path to follow while keeping foliage to the sides. One of the complaints people had about Overprime is that it was a visual overload in many aspects, so they've taken steps to simplify what you see. The new map also has more open jungle camps to let players better see where they are in relation to everything else. Souleve also subdued some of the bright colors on the map in order to lessen eye fatigue, but also to make abilities pop a little more. Personally, I don't think people were really complaining about the map being too bright, but rather that the particle effects from abilities were a bit overwhelming. I guess we'll have to see if the darker overall atmosphere helps when we actually play the game. They mentioned the removal of some of the shadow wells. I thought they were going to replace all shadow wells with bushes since they essentially serve the same function, but it seems like they simply repositioned or removed some of the shadow wells. Notably, the shadow well leading towards the side lanes has been removed and replaced with bushes. This is a pretty damn good change since having both bushes and a shadow well in that area meant that you had to place multiple wards in the same area in order to be safe. It also removes a bit of visual clutter, which is always a good change in my opinion. They also added a few fog walls to the game. Overprime had 0 fog walls preventing line of sight into the jungle during the closed beta tests, but now they'll have them obscuring some of the jungle entrances. This will make a quick dip into the jungle a bit more of a scary prospect. I like a lot of these changes, however some of them seem to be self-defeating. If you're trying to clean up the lane entrances so you don't have to use multiple wards for the same area, then why add a fog wall that will need to be warded? I also don't understand leaving some shadow wells in. I mean, I like to see the shadow wells for nostalgia purposes, but if they serve the same function as bushes, just use the damn bushes. It was mentioned during the video that they will be going back to having one ability unlocked per level, as opposed to Overprime's beta system of having all 3 abilities unlocked as soon as you start the game, then leveling those abilities as you progress. This was a very controversial system from the get-go. Most MOBAs follow the one unlock per level method, so having all of your abilities, minus your ultimate of course, from minute 1 was a bit of a shock to MOBA veterans. I personally kinda liked it. Sure, the jungler could gank with all of their abilities much sooner, however, I liked having all of my abilities there and ready to counter that gank. Junglers normally level up much faster than duo lanes, so I saw this system as a bit of a buff to supports who have to rely on shared experience to unlock abilities, and therefore often don't have all the tools they need to prevent a gank. I'm kinda sad to see this system go, but I can see where it allows for more player skill expression by having to choose what you unlock and when. I've really enjoyed these Overprime for the record videos for a variety of reasons, but one thing that caught my attention about this one in particular was the discussion of basic MOBA strategies. Not everyone that's going to be playing these Paragon remakes are going to be a para-refugee or even general MOBA veterans, so it's nice to see them highlighting everything from wide-ranging MOBA concepts such as it being a game of economy to small tactical details like how to counter Chimera. I love seeing them talking about nullifying his healing via knockbacks and stuns. He's a rough hero to deal with when you first start playing, and a little tip to new players will go a long way. They also discuss the importance of leashing for your jungler, how the jungler can dictate the pacing of the game early on by showing presence in lane, and the advantages of pushing your minions under tower in order to deny the enemy gold and XP. They also talked about how different junglers will have different priorities when it comes to ganking and farming. Some fairly nuanced strategies. By no means does discussing strats in their version of the community corner replace a good tutorial, but it's nice to see them beginning player education before the game is even out. They also announced that the old Paragon names will be coming back. Souleve changed the names in the past for what I thought was supposed to be a Netflix graphic novel sort of thing. I'm kind of wondering if that got shit canned or if they'll just proceed with that, but with the OG names. I don't know how I feel about this. On one hand, yeah, some of the names they used sucked, but a few of them were pretty good. It also served to distinguish them from Paragon and the other remakes. We talked a bit on For the Minions about search engine optimization, and someone searching for Murdoch tips will get all the games, including Paragon, but a search for Scud tips will mainly lead you to Overprime content. More than that though, Overprime out of all the remakes has felt less like rehashed Paragon and more like a new game that pays homage to its roots. While I can see why they've reverted some of the decisions they've made in the past, I do hope that they don't make the mistake of caving into the demands of the para-refugee community and end up with just another remake. Overprime was a unique experience that ended up being much more fun than I thought it would be, and I would love to see them stay true to their own vision instead of staking their success on Epic's take on a third-person MOBA. We'll be discussing these updates and more live on For the Minions Sunday night if you want to come out and let us know what your opinions are. Also, quick note, I created a shared Google Drive folder with multiple transparent background images of all the Paragon heroes. This is for anyone to use for making content or just to have, I guess. I really don't care what you do with them. The link to that folder will be in the description below. Let me know what you think of these changes in the comments, like the video if you enjoyed it, sub for more third-person MOBA content, but for now, this is the Mangoose signing off. You guys have a good one. Mangoose! Special shout out to channel members, Bloodhunter, Jelly Knees, Meow Mix for Men, Stunt, Raven, and Blastoise King.